Yay, we're live.
Yay, good work. And we are kind of running from off the seat of our pants today. I was running a little late, but we are live here with the ripple effect, and I have some exciting share about why I was late, and it actually ties right into what Elaine does too. So I feel like we're already on a good for discussion. But my name's David Kirsten, and I'm here with my esteemed co-host Erika Gimbel. And Erika brought a great guest with her today, Elaine Williams, who is going to share some very interesting insights on presentation on digital medium. And first, I wanted to check in with you guys, see how you are today.
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. My tea is boiling in the background, so sorry if there's that rumble noise. It's going to go away in just a moment. But it's good to see you, David. I can't wait to hear what you're going to share about your project you were just on. And it's always good to be with you on the ripple effect.
Yeah. Well, we'll do a quick check-in, and we'll get right to Elaine. I was actually working, doing a collaboration with a guy who has a studio out here, and he has a lot of capacity to build sets and produce live shows. So we were doing some demos out there, and I'm going to get a testimonial out pretty soon for him. But he has this amazing process for working with people, and I just see so much room for collaboration there and what we're going to create, and helping business owners carry their message out here in the Bay Area and beyond. So I'll share some clips soon. But he had green screen, set creation. We did some inside the studio type of thing, and we shared some insights on how to use this stuff. So, for example, how to do if you're, say, fruits and vegetable advocate, maybe you want to have a show every week on that topic. You can come in one day a week or a half day and create the shows for that month, and we'll push it out throughout the month. So yeah, exciting stuff.
That's amazing. It sounds like it really helps us, be the scaffolding for all we're creating. I find that all the little details really challenging. So any way to support getting the information out there.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, he had a studio tech with him, and I love all these details, but if you have one person doing it, you can't get everything right. So we had a person behind the camera to really dial in everything. They had monitors for every shot, and we had jibs, and it was really kind of life on a Hollywood set, so to speak. So, but it's there for small business, and it's a very affordable too. So I'm really excited to kind of bring that to our networks and
cool
showcase him and what he does. And, I think it really does start with a lot of what Elaine offers. So if we'll get to her in a sec. I did want to just get a quick check-in from you, Erika, about what's going on with you this week, and any triathlons. Or I heard you did a swim over there with the sharks over near Alcatraz.
Oh yeah, right. No way. I swam off the beach of Alameda Crown Beach on Saturday with my friend who is 78. She is on my swim team, and every day she goes swimming in the open water with her little buoy. So I went with her and my little buoy, and we were swimming in the water. And she said, "Now, if a seal taps you on the foot, don't get scared, okay?" And I was like, "I won't." And I really look forward to that moment. But no seal tapped us on the feet. But I was definitely excited for the opportunity to get to be like, "High five, seal," But no, that didn't happen. But we swam just under 2 miles out there.
Wow.
And it was really cool. So I'm hooked.
Okay, I thought that was a little bit further out in the bay, but I always kind of get mixed up sometimes. But that is the same bay where Alcatraz is. It's just a little bit more inland. So
there are upcoming swims that are happening, David. Like there's this swim for sight that's going to happen in a couple of weeks, and Lois is going to be part of it. And she just keeps swimming. I mean, she's amazing. So maybe you'll get to see her if you come over to the swim meet that's happening this weekend. I'm a part of the swim meet, and it's going to be, many of us have not swum competitively since we were teenagers. So it's going to be a hoot.
Yeah, let me know. I'll get some footage, and
Yeah, come on over. We're at Clark Pool on over the weekend. So yes, you're invited. But so shall we invite Elaine? She's sitting here so patiently sipping her beautiful tea from her tea mug that I think I have one of those mugs too. Oh no, that's a different one. So I can't wait to hear Elaine share today. I met Elaine through the Thriving Women in Business community. And she messaged me and she said, I like your energy. I want to connect with you. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, for sure. So I'm really excited to have you on here today and get to share your amazingness. Your business, I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Captivate the Crowd.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you. Thank you, David and Erika, for having me on your show. This is so exciting. And my mother loved Alcatraz. When she came to visit, she was like, you have to go back. If you go back, you have to do the tour. So she's going to be excited to know that I know somebody who was swimming even close to Alcatraz. Are there really sharks in the water out there? Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
More of the sharks are outside the gate of the Golden Gate, but there are sharks out there. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And
Scary.
seals,
But
seals
yeah.
are dangerous too. A lot of people don't realize that.
Oh,
Those
really?
those big sea lions and seals.
Do they, what happens if they tap you on the feet?
so
Well, they
far,
have big teeth and claws. Yeah.
Oh,
Have you ever
really?
had a run in with the seal, Erica?
well, no, not up close in person, but a friend of mine was swimming and he had a seal tap him on the foot, and the seal did it twice and he swam back in. He was like, all right, that's enough for me. But I think of them as, playful dolphins. So I'm not going to worry about that for today, but it's good information.
Yeah,
We need to know.
I kind of bring a little bit of drama sometimes to seals and bears, or I mean sharks and bears are two kind of nature's animals that you got to watch out for.
Okay, I will not go camping with you, David. Mental note, mental note. So no, but I'm excited to be here. And yeah, I help people get over their fear of being seen.
Speaking, which is just about our favorite thing to do. So you're coming to us from the East Coast. So tell us about where
Yes.
you are. How did you get into this work, and who do you really help? Like, we want to know.
You want to know the story? Okay, well,
We
when
want to
I
know the
was
story.
4, no, I'm just kidding. I always like to do a joke like, oh, you guys said I could do my one-woman show. It's only like 3 hours. Is that okay? And then people always look like, and I go, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I moved from Texas. I moved to New York to pursue musical theater, and then fell into comedy. I never thought I'd become a stand-up comedian. It wasn't even on my radar, but people kept saying, you're really funny, you're really funny. And I was like, what do you mean? Because it was, the first couple of years I knew one person when I moved here. So it was challenging. I had this sweet little life in Austin. So and I moved up here to pursue theater and study at the neighborhood playhouse. And then, life happens. And I got sober all at the same time, which I would never recommend, but that's how I did it. And then, so I was doing Debbie Ford work, training with her to be a coach. And I was going to Toastmasters because I knew how to perform, but I didn't know how to speak as myself. So I started doing that in the early 2000s, and then became a professional coach, even though I'd always sort of coached and cheerleaded people my whole life. In 2005, got my first certification and just kept going, and then got into flipping houses. And I did a TV pilot, making fun of myself because by that time I was a motivational speaker. So I could get standing ovations in Ohio, but I couldn't get my tenants to take out their trash. So we made a TV pilot about it, and we became semi-finalists in the New York TV Festival. So I'm a big fan of like taking your pain and making fun of it, because that's the best way to heal, So and then I was a dating coach on the internet for a while. And then I realized, I really wanted to do more coaching for women. And so I started Captivate the Crowd officially in 2016, did my first beta programs. And I originally thought I was going to be a speaker coach because everyone's so scared of public speaking. And then as I was developing my program, Facebook Live was coming down the pike, and I realized, oh my God, people are even more afraid of being on camera. And, you know, we've seen that. We've seen a lot of bad Zooms, right? And so I just pivoted before, this is way pre-COVID, this is in 2017, and started helping people just get over their fear and learning how to speak with conviction and tell stories and craft stories and how to look your best. Because when you feel like you look better, you're just gonna connect more. And I do a lot of inside work too, because I can talk all day long about the lights and the camera and blah, 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 blah. But if you don't deal with the inside blocks, people aren't gonna keep making videos, or they may never
Amen.
get started. So
Awesome. It's like, so I have really understand like your trajectory, because those years I started to get on Facebook Live. I took a Facebook Live class with a different coach, and it was so liberating to get on there. And also it's so great to just go and dip your toe and say yes. So the women
yes.
mostly women you work with?
Yes, a few very cool, smart guys, and mostly women.
Right, few good men. The people you work with, they learn to get over their fears and get with the program of just jump in and do it
Yes.
and share your story. And
Yes.
I mean, from what I've already learned from you, and I've learned so much already just from listening to you in the vicinity, in the hood, is like find your funny. Find a way to have a like laugh at yourself, because it helps people lean in.
Yes.
And also to figure out your story.
Yes.
In my business as a fruits and vegetables advocate, I'm always like, I'm paid to tell stories. I tell my own story, and I share stories that others have experienced, and then it causes people to get curious about, well, what could this be for me?
Right.
So,
Well, and that's how we learn, right, Erika? Like if you just go, here are the statistics and here are the facts, it's like you become the Charlie Brown teacher, right? It just, your voice just washes over us or whatever. But if you say, well, let me tell you a story about tomatoes and Ethel, I don't know, I'm making this up, but then, and I always remember people by their stories.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of people do sound like that Charlie Brown teacher. And I think that's because they're petrified by fear. And it really takes practice to really get over, that being frozen by fear. And I know that was a nice lead in. We were talking about sharks and bears earlier, but I think the only thing people are more afraid of is actually
the camera.
Speaking. So it's, the camera. And, so I always think Erika is really just such a natural on camera. And I know you're great too. We only just kind of first met, but what I'd actually like to hear and from both of you, because I think it's such a powerful thing in helping people get started, is what is your story in terms of how you got over that fear, just your quick progression? Like Erika, you look like a natural on camera, for example, but I think it's the first part to how to get started doing it is the hardest part. And then once you're doing it, how to kind of progress from there. I don't know if that's something.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Is it okay if I go first, Erika? Okay, cool. So, I am, even though I've been a performance, I've been performing professionally since I was in the 4th grade, booked my first commercial. I ever auditioned for, booked my first movie. And my agent was like, it doesn't usually happen this way. And yet, when people were saying, oh, you got to go live, there was a part of me that was like, oh, no. I want a batch. I want to be in control. I'm going to have good hair and makeup that day. And I'm going to batch my videos. And I'm just going to change out my shirts and my jewelry. And then my mentor kept saying, no, live video is what gets pushed out. And I was scared, but I didn't even really know it, because a part of me is like, I'm a professional, but I was being like this. Hi, everybody. So today we're going to talk about confidence. And who I was being was, please like me. Oh my God, please like me. Don't make fun of me. I was afraid that someone was going to come by, like another comic, and make fun of what I was doing or saying, or that somebody was just going to come by and mess with me. And so who I was being was, oh God, just please be nice to me, which was not congruent with my message, which is to be bold and share your story and be yourself, because I'm like a goofy, wacky what. And so the thing that helped me was my mentor was bullied, and very publicly in a big Facebook group, one of those ones that has like 10,000 people. Somebody made fun of her lipstick and she had like a slight lisp, and her energy is really high energy. And this woman made fun of her, made fun of her video, made comments, and she was really upset. And she called her mentor crying, and her mentor was like, awesome. This is awesome. Being bullied is so good because it means you're on your way. It means you are standing boldly, and people who stand boldly and speak their truth, half of the room is going to love them and half of the room probably not. But that means you are standing out from the noise and the crowd, and it's awesome. And that story really freed things up for me. And it comes back to like, well, what am I committed to, right? So I'm committed to use my story for good, to help heal the world with love and laughter, one joke, one story at a time. I am a total resilient survivor, right? I've overcome 3 addictions, assault, domestic violence, you name it. It happened to me growing up and then in my 20s. And I feel like not to toot my own horn, but the whole thing is if I can recover and heal, somebody else can too. And that's why I share what I do with such a passion, because I know what it's like to not have a voice. And I want to help people find their voice. And it takes courage to do video. It takes courage to speak, but it especially takes courage to do video because it's so transparent, which is why it's so powerful, which is also why it can be so dang scary. And, one of my clients said, I teach her how to be brave every day. And I think of video as sort of like balance. Like there's some days I'm in yoga and I am like I am on fire. This morning I was like, woo. And there are other days I am like wobbly and just off and my equilibrium. Now I still showed up with the mat. I still focused and gave it my all, just like working out. Some days I remember when I used to work out with weights in the gym, I was like, ugh. And other days I was weaker, but you show up. So I that's what I feel like video is. It can be a muscle. And I think if you can embrace, like, what are you committed to? Because some people are not going to like you. Most people won't even remember because there's so much stuff coming at us. Yeah. But if you can reframe it, then you're winning. So that's how it kind of freed me up.
Yeah. I really, really appreciate the way you're saying everything you're saying about what you do, like the energy, the transmission of you and all you've overcome and paving the way for others to get out there and get out of their own way. That's huge. And,
thank
for
you.
me, I mean, I work with people as a therapist to do that very same thing on an individual. There's the micro level, and then it's like you're helping people get their message to the world. That's so fun. So what do you got going on that people can check out? Like, do you have, what's your thing that we can spy on you or come to your thing? Or
cool.
Tell us about your next project or program that people can check out.
Well, thank you for the question. And you know what? I did have a mug like that in at this place where I used to work and hang out with in Montclair. It was blue and white.
Montclair, Oakland?
Montclair, New Jersey, just the town over.
I'm like, where are you from?
You're like, oh my God.
Elaine, tell us about your things.
So I am doing a master class next week on the 21st. And it is all about, I'm going blank because I have one on video and reels, and then I have one on storytelling, I think.
One thing, give us one thing that
I'm going to give you one thing. You know what? The best thing right now is go to Captivate the Crowd
on
and
Facebook.
grab captivatethecrowd.com.
Okay.
And you can grab a confidence on camera checklist.
Oh, cool.
And that way we'll be connected, and it has some really great tips that really you can use anytime you're speaking in general. And I always think of, make a video with your friend. If you are terrified, get a video buddy and send videos back and forth so you can practice seeing how you look like, and like, oh yeah, this is how I sound. Okay. And what is the value you're providing? What is your why? And when you get connected with that, that will help free you up. But yeah, the best thing to do is go to captivatethecrowd.com and grab the confidence on camera checklist. And that way you'll get all the other info and we can stay connected that
Of
way.
what's going on with you, because it sounds like it's just fun to come play with you and to get out of your own way about what you're bringing to the world, because we have so many gifts to bring. And if someone's hanging out waiting at home under the covers, nobody's gonna know you're there. David, what do you want to say?
It's so true.
Yeah, you just have to start doing it. And I think I've thought of so many different things of what you're saying. And I think really, and two kind of mentors that I look up to, people like John Maxwell and Bob Proctor,
Yes.
be able to get to that level to where you can just show your purpose freely and openly, but you have to have that comfortability to be able to just kind of, it's almost like you're lost in a zone, so to speak, of like you're just sharing what's on your mind. So it is so raw, but you can't get there just right away, but how to get on the path to get there. And I love these things that you're saying about how you got there and how Erika got there too. So it's exciting stuff.
David got there. David, you've been really getting out in the world. You help so many people get out to the world. So I mean, it's such a service what you're doing, David, with all of your podcasts and video work. So the two of you, I bet you have like, too bad you're not in our zip code, Elaine.
Yeah,
I know. Well, who knows? Who knows what may happen?
She's right there on the screen. That's the beauty of cyberspace. And I think there's so much, what you said there about your why and your purpose, I think is such a powerful thing, because a lot of people would never expect that for public speaking. They think, well, I just got to learn how to be a public speaker, but it's about a lot of this kind of core work, this fundamental work that comes down to
that thing
really,
of doing it, like the thing of doing it, and everything else falls into place. Like today, I did not put on makeup. I think I have the Zoom lipstick on right now. And here I am, I'm in this brand new tracksuit that my friend gave me. And it's like kind of sharp and cool and got my little background, and it's like, we're doing it. We're just doing it. And that's good enough. That's good enough. And I can't wait to tune into what you're offering, Elaine, myself, because I always love to learn more about this very topic. Like I used to do stand-up comedy too. I used to do musical theater and all that in New York. And, this whole idea of getting out of our own way to do the next thing and how we can serve more, and our visions and our missions are so big that it just blows the roof off the roof.
I love that.
I actually do have a question for you, and I think that's so great that you come from a stand-up comic background. I think that's one of the most impressive forms of public speaking, and I have more respect for stand-up
hard
than anybody else out there, especially these days. I love hearing Dave Chappelle in the media this week, and some of those comics that I admire, and that commanding of the crowd and things. And maybe you don't agree with everything they say, but just to have that ability is impressive. And I guess one thing I think that's so relevant right now is this difference between speaking on Zoom, but speaking in front of a crowd versus speaking on video. Do you see like a big difference in some of those different things? And I don't know if you could just speak to what you see is the difference. I think being up on stage in front of a crowd is the hardest thing.
That's a great question. Thank you for the question. So for some people, being on camera is way easier. For other people, they're great in front of the crowd live, and then coming on camera is terrifying. Like it's really interesting. I've worked with several friends that I know from the speaking world, and they came to one of my master classes, and I kept thinking, well, they don't need this, but they signed up and worked with me. So, the difference is, when you're on camera, you want to be dropped in, you want to be grounded, and you want to be thinking that you're talking to one person. That's really key, so that you don't feel, hi, everybody. Like, don't think of like the whole web. Think about like you're just talking to your best friend or your dog or your mom or somebody. And then if you're, on stage, you want to be working the whole room. So when I first started doing Facebook Lives, my friends were like, you're making me dizzy, because I was so used to doing comedy where, you're always like looking at the whole room. So that's, that's the biggest thing. But I think the other thing, David, is that so many people think, well, I've been speaking since I was a toddler. I should already be good at this. But it's one thing to be in your life talking to people. You're at the dry cleaners. Hi, how are you? Thank you. You're getting at groceries. It's a whole other thing to talk when you know that people are watching you. And then on top of Zoom, you can see yourself. So that can make you doubly conscious. So, sometimes I tell people, if you need to put a Post-it note over yourself so that you can be freed up, do it. Do it.
Yeah, great. And I know I still have the mistake of always looking down while I'm thinking, and I actually just don't try to get better at certain things. Well,
David, you're so cute, and your face, your eyes are adorable, and the forehead isn't as cute as your the whole face. Yeah. So I know I'm making you blush right now, but I've been with David about that. I'm like, David, give us this, not this.
yeah, but I love what you said there about just showing some of the things that and those different mediums I think are so important, because you really got to master at least two of those three, I think, to be successful, because you can't get by right now without being on camera. But then ideally we want to get to an in-person type of thing, I think is ideal. Or what was the other one, more of a podcast or a webinar type of thing. I see some of the best speakers that I see on video these days, a lot of them stand up and they do some different things that you don't see everybody doing out there on, say, a webinar. I don't know if
Right.
you have any favorite speakers out there, Elaine, or if you have any kind of tips for people about really how to be good on just like a Zoom webinar type of thing.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm a big fan of warming up. If you think about athletes, they warm up. Erika, I'm sure hopefully you warm up before you dive in. And so I think speaking is the same way. So I have a 5-minute speaker warm up exercise on Captivate the Crowd YouTube. And I'm just a huge fan of helping people, kind of expand yourself. And I also, when I'm really nervous, I keep moving. I walk around and I do shoulder rolls and shoulder openings, because if I sit and wait, then I contract and then I'm melting. I got through 7 rounds of America's Got Talent, and I knew, and I had been in LA and I flew back and I had like 3.5 hours sleep, but I was like, I am doing this damn audition. And I had my own t-shirts, and they always tell you when it's industry, don't expect them to look at you or laugh. A lot of times they just don't even. So I walked in, I gave them all t-shirts. I did my 4 minutes. They were wonderful. And they laughed and smiled. And they were like, oh my God, you're good. Don't change a thing. And then every group that I went to next was a little bit less nice. And I wish I brought more t-shirts, because it was such a great warm up, but I hadn't thought it all the way through. But I knew if I was going to have to wait, I wanted to keep moving and be on my feet to keep my energy going, just like I did the New York City Marathon in 2001. And I knew for me, I need to keep moving. The minute I start walking, it's all over. So I did a very slow, methodical jog, and I peed between the cars so I wouldn't have to wait in the line and get cold.
Right
it was
on.
so freeing. It was so freeing. I did it in 4 hours and 40 minutes. Woo!
Right on. Right on.
Know?
Hey, I
But-
have to jump off and get on an appointment, but I just want to thank you, Elaine, for coming. And
Okay.
you guys can wrap up. And thank you again for having my friend Elaine Williams, my new friend.
Thank you, Erika. Thanks for having me, and have a great appointment. Okay.
Okay, take care. We'll talk
Yeah.
more.
I'll wrap up. I'll close out here in a second. I did want to thank you for coming on too. And this is one of my favorite topics in the whole world, because I think it's so important. And, we do want to keep in touch with you and in our network, and do send me the links to your master class or put them in the chat, and
Okay.
let's talk more soon, because I'd love to connect with you and see how you can help some of the folks in our network as well.
I would love that, David. And, I'm going to be in the San Francisco area at the end of January and the beginning of February. And I'm
Okay.
hoping I want to do a comedy benefit. So, oh, here comes
Okay.
somebody else. So
Yeah, that's my other, we have a back-to-back podcast here, so we're gonna be closing out the ripple
Okay.
effect here. And let's do send that email and let me know when you're gonna be in the Bay Area. I was just talking to somebody about that type of event, a virtual type of event there. But yeah, let's
Cool.
keep good. Well, let's talk more soon.
Okay,
And
thank you. Thank you so much for having me, David. Nice to meet you. Have a great afternoon. Have fun with Corey.
thanks everyone. We'll see you next week for the ripple
Okay.
effect.